All right, everybody, how we doing today? All right. I know people are arguing about the points. I am not adding points today. Today is an exception. I get an excuse day. I stated in I stated in this thing in the pinned comment, right? I made clear the time is tentative. I didn't want to get into all like, oh, Morj, I did not know what point I'd be good to stream today. I said the time is tentative, but as long as I'm healthy, I'll aim for 1 p.m. EST. I'm not adding a full day of points. I'm not adding 24 hours of points. I'm not adding an hour and 40 minutes of points. I need an exception day. This is an exception. I'm not normally going to do this, but I said the time is tentative. I can aim for a time. Bro went to Starbucks? No, I was brought this morning. It's a very basic thing. It's an iced vanilla latte. All right, everybody. We can review the points because you guys are always allowed to cash in points at any given point. You're always allowed to cash in the points at any stream. But I'm not adding points this stream. Not this stream. This stream, it's not happening. Hold on. Let me get my affairs together. All right. Put this over here. The fuck is this? All right. What the fuck? Oh, no, this stuff's kind of important. Okay. Let's move this shit around. How's everybody doing? I do like... Okay, on the one hand, I don't like streaming on Saturdays because, it's a Saturday. But on the other hand, I feel the most energized, invigorated when this is the only work task that I have to do today. I guess you could call it a work task. It's just streaming. It's the only task that I've had a nice, slow day so far. I got a lot of bed rest. You just feel more with it on a Saturday, Fading Face, thanks for being a Yonko tier member for 3 months, man. Morj, you gotta watch Mob Psycho for scamming us. Hope you have a good stream. I'm celebrating my anniversary with my girlfriend today. Oh, congratulations. Yeah, congratulations on a year. For us, it would be February 13th, although that's not when we became official, but that's when we had our first date, so we're counting that as our anniversary. So that's coming around for us around the corner. Silent South says, so when's the new chapter dropping? Next week? Feels like it's been ages. The new chapter should drop next week. It should be out next week. Let me check ClayStage. For 2025. For those of you who don't know, ClayStage is the best site to check up on just One Piece chapter release dates. So today is the 11th. Yeah, next week it should be out on Friday, chapter 1136. Yeah, so we're shooting for next week. All right. Mr. Morj. God damn it, UK friendly stream. It's Morjin time. Is this a UK friendly stream? All right, that's good to know. All right, let's pull up real quick the late penalties. You guys can review them. We are not adding points today, just this once. Well, who knows? There might be another exception. There's probably going to be another exception day at some point. But this is just for, just for quick review. All right. Where's it at? All right, here we go. These are the late penalties as of this moment. Read one chapter of a series chosen by chat on stream. I can add in or episode / episode. Yeah, that works. I'll do a chapter or an episode if you guys want Mob Psycho. I will watch Mob Psycho, by the way. Mob Psycho, I think that probably is the next thing that I gotta watch. I just gotta push myself to do it because it just doesn't... I just can't get behind... Look, it's just... I think it should be very clear. It's just... This kid being the main character... It just... I don't want to watch it. I don't want to watch it. Because, like, the thing with One Punch Man, it's like, you see One Punch Man's main character, and it's funny. It's like a gag, funny-looking character, right? But One Punch Man is ultimately supposed to be pretty gag-bait. Like, it's supposed to be pretty funny. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's supposed to be a gag manga, for the most part. So it's like, I'm on board with that. This dweeb, I just don't really want to watch him as the main character. You see what I'm saying? Like, it's just very, very off-putting. It doesn't get me excited for the story. You know? You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, once you guys showed me, you guys made me watch that one fight, and I was like, holy shit, that's one of the coolest anime action sequences I've ever seen. Ever. I was like, okay, so I have to watch this at this point. It seems exciting. And before this, I was watching Fate. I did not even finish out Fate Zero. I think Fate Zero, I'm on the last 2 episodes and can't push myself to finish it. Can't push myself to finish it. I will try. I just lost steam or momentum in that show, so I'm not as interested in it at this moment in time. I was very interested when it started. I think it fell off over time for me personally. I finished 1,000 Year Blood War, the rest of it. The core, I'm very excited for core 4. Very excited for core 4. All right. I will watch Mob Psycho. He's peak. But he's the GOAT. The thing is that, like, I just think that, okay, how do I explain this? He's the GOAT. Look, even if he's a good kid, like, he has psychic abilities, right? Can somebody correct me if I'm wrong? He has psychic abilities? You guys respond to that while I respond to this super real quick. Brooke is the GOAT. Thanks as usual for coming through, and thanks for the support. Morj, need to tune out, so sending my prediction now. Stabs and Chick are going to be fighting with Dory and Brogy. BTW, I'm making a prediction. Everyone boycott Morj video until he posts Wano video, lazy ass. No, we're not rolling with that petition. This would be the worst place to post the petition. You should post the petition in some, like, anti-Morj group or something like that, not on a Morj stream. Let's make the 11:36... Let's make the 11:36 predictions so we can get yours up there. Brooke is the GOAT. Wait, I kind of want to copy and paste a format from before. Yeah, let me just copy paste this. I'll just duplicate, right? Here, I'll delete this. Delete board. This seems like a clean format. Yeah, this seems good. Yeah. Okay. We'll duplicate this. All right. But now it's for chapter 1136, you know? I'm kind of curious, just looking back at this, did any of these turn out to be right, not even in 1131, but just in general? We get Vivi's perspective, no. Loki revealed, no. Other Strats arrived, that happened. Druden has been training, nope. Luffy tames Giant Wolf, yes, this did come true. Congratulations again, Goomba Boomba. This might be happening. Loki tricking Luffy into freeing him. This is most likely going to happen. This Cheesy Skull's prediction is very likely. It's just not, it couldn't have happened in 1131. Watch my next video. I actually talk about this to some degree. Walder's reveal. Loki does not have a double fruit. Yuch shows up. Yeah, interesting. Luffy and Loki grow to somewhat like each other over conversation. This is actually somewhat correct, Caleb Cool Guy. It's somewhat correct. It's complicated though, because they did like each other and get along initially, but then it kind of fell apart once Loki started shit talking Shanks. So it's a little complicated. All right. X2X is Morj. When are you starting Kingdom again? I think realistically, because I just started Sakamoto Days. I've held off on continuing it, but I'm probably going to read through Sakamoto Days, and then I think I'm going to read Kingdom next. I think Kingdom's after that. Eric Joe says, L petition, Morj recent vids, especially Shank's brother is man marked by flames, was hella good. I'm just saying, I got I think I'm on a theory roll right now. Because ever since we got the Gods Knights confirmed being in the villains of Elbaf, or at least clear villains of Elbaf, we got Shanks' evil brother confirmed. Elbaf being Shanks' arc confirmed. I think I've been on a real good run of theories lately. And I think every single theory I've dropped recently has been a good-ass theory in terms of like a very strong argument for it being true and making a lot of sense for the storyline. So I personally think at this moment in time, theory-wise, this channel has been on an absolute roll. So I think that, in my biased opinion, you guys should keep watching the videos, obviously. Marcel Beans, thanks for being a Pirate King chair member for 12 months. I hope you enjoyed the Pirate King podcast that just came out. My prediction, Luffy's trying to beat up another giant kid. Let's put in Brooke as the GOAT's prediction before I forget. All right. Here, let's see. Let's do that first. Luffy kills a child, says Hoops. Okay. Also, let's get the stream likes up. Let's get the stream likes to 50 real quick. Evil Shanks and the chick are going to be fighting with Dory and Brogy. If they don't... Well, Dory and Brogy actually held out against, like, Warkiri, the Gorosei, kind of okay. They're not scrubs. It's just hard to tell how... The tricky thing is that, like, now the scale is so high, the standards are so high, like, Luffy can fight Admirals and Gorosei and Yonko and shit, that it's, like, the standard for being an impressive character is so absurd at this point, you know? Like, Dory and Brogy, if you drop them into the story, considering how they did against the Gorosei, if you drop them into the story at, like, once we reach the New World, like Fishman Island or something, we would have been like, holy shit, Dory and Brogy are still really, really strong, even by today's standards. But now we're at a point where it's like, you know, Admirals, Yonko, that's kind of the... You kind of got to be there to be truly impressive, you know? Even First Mates, they're impressive, but, like, they're not, like... crazy, like, it's not like, holy shit, this guy's First Mate level, or this guy's like Yonko Commander level anymore. We're kind of past that. Alright, let's get into it. Alright, Evil Shanks and the girl fight Dory and Brogy. Brooke is the GOAT. And then we had from Marcel Beans, Luffy trying to beat up another giant kid. Okay. Luffy tries to beat up another giant kid. Yeah, I'm surprised by how violent Luffy's being off the bat right here. It's kind of funny. Okay, Maya, thanks for the 2. Why not check the Elbaf arc predictions? We have actually revisited those. There's too many untitles to go through. I don't know which one. We could just go through each one of these. Okay, let's take a look at that maybe after we get through some of these. Kunal Dashiwal, thanks a lot. Yo, we'll go gym from Monday. Is that like a New Year's resolution? That's good. The gym's probably gonna be super extra packed at the start of the year. Our apartment complex has a gym, so I haven't noticed any sort of change. But I do think I remember noticing back when I went to public gyms that the very start of the year was sometimes more packed, just because, you know, January, New Year's resolutions. Also, just like Luffy, Zoro, Shanks, Mihawk, Joy Boy had someone like Ryuma. As we do have lots of parallels already. Thoughts? I don't know, because it's like... Did Roger have someone like... I don't know about that. Like, you could argue that Joy Boy's parallel in olden days is Ryuma. They even reference that in the Wano arc itself, right? They're like, oh, is this Joy Boy figure, is he like as famous as, is he as great as the legend Ryuma? But I wouldn't be surprised if Joy Boy and Ryuma were like centuries apart or something. So it's kind of just like, I don't know if in the Void Century flashback that we get, it will be in-depth enough that we also get insight into some famous swordsmanship figure that was tied to Joy Boy in some way, you know? Um, Angel Reese, thanks for the 5. I don't think next chapter, but eventually all the God's Knights will have yokai abilities, and Dragon slash Revs will show us how to damage them. That would be cool if they all have yokai abilities. I'm just gonna put that down as God's Knights revealed to also have yokai abilities. That's a really cool idea. Angel Reese. Is there a way we can fit that? We can probably fit. Yeah, we could fit that. That would be cool. I think it's all of them having yokai abilities. The tricky thing with that is it's just like they all have yokai abilities. Kind of makes the Gorosei's transformations a little bit less unique. Like that was a Gorosei thing because the Gorosei powers seem to come from Emu. No, it would still be really cool. It's the God's Knights all transforming. I don't know. It'd be interesting. Attilio, thanks for the 5. Hey, Morj, I'm going on a date with this... All right, so it continues. Attilio's adventures continue. Hey, Morj, I'm going on a date with this girl. Everyone gather around. We've got a new entry in Attilio's continuing romantic escapades. I'm going on a date with this girl. Wish me luck. We all wish you luck, Attilio. Everyone wish Attilio luck. It's a 45-minute drive, so I'll see you on in the background. All right, so perfect. We can entertain Attilio in the background. Yeah, best of luck, man. Hopefully you found a good spot. Out of curiosity, what's the date? Like, what are you doing? It sounds, I imagine it's probably middle of the day right now for you, unless you're in UK or something like that. So maybe you're doing coffee or some other activity or something like that. Like, are you doing like a fun activity? What are you doing? Alex McFadden, thanks for the 2. A Nakama mistakes Shanks for evil Shanks. I'm just going to say a character. I'll say a character mistakes Shanks for evil Shanks. A character... You mean a character mistakes evil Shanks for Shanks? I'll say that. That makes more sense. Good luck, boss man. Yeah. That's from Alex McFadden. Oh, Cheesecake Factory. All right. Nice. Cheesecake Factory Mall. All right. That's actually fun. That's because what you get to do at the Cheesecake Factory is like they have... This is stupid and silly, but they've got such a big menu that it's a little. It can be like a little bit fun to browse and peruse and be like, oh, like you go through the items or whatever. It's not the most fun thing in the world, but you know what I mean. Like it's any extra talking points that the environment can give you is helpful. Torchlight17 says, Attilio, don't show her your cock hockey, cockers hockey till your shirt will last. I agree, Attilio. Yeah, save it for that special sub one. Not till you're saying your vows. You know. Dragon is currently a fraud, unfortunately. I think that Dragon is going to watch this upcoming Tuesday video. I cover a lot of things that seem to be set up, so it covers a lot of different factions. I think Tuesday's video is a pretty interesting one in my opinion. What do I think of Dragon? How strong will he be? If you caught my recent top 30, I think I've consistently been putting Dragon as of late as the top 1 good guy currently alive. I think I got him in that position. I feel like, yeah, I think he's probably top 1 currently alive. I think the Dragon is supposed to be a lot stronger than we believe. It's just the amount that Oda's held the dude back is just insane. Like, he's not done anything. Like, he's the character that Oda is keeping most under wraps in terms of, like, I don't want to show a single glimpse of what this guy can do. Not against weak characters, not against fodder. When you're just having that character saved for so long, it makes me start to believe as the reader that this is some sort of a trump card for Oda. Not a trump card, but like just something that Oda knows is so exciting and hype that it's worth saving for the max amount of time possible. El Dragon has been a fraud for damn near 20 years. I think it's funny to call Dragon a fraud. My only thing is, I wish like he acted like he had his shit together. Oh wait, I forgot. I had questions about this really quick before we get any further. Questions about this. Okay. It's a few yes or no questions. Also, let's get the streamlines to 100. This guy is the main character, correct? Is this guy super overpowered like Saitama? Is he like the strongest character? This guy's super overpowered like Saitama. Okay. Well, is he... Okay, so Guts is saying no, he has limits. Well, is he the strongest character from the very beginning? Is that the case? Almost no one can fight him. It's done differently, though. I understand that it's done differently because people explained that to me last time. I'm just trying to understand. Okay. Does he have psychic powers? He's not as broken as Saitama. Yeah, Saitama, the idea is like nothing really can do anything to him. Okay, he's strongest immediately. I understand he's got good character development. I understand those differences. I understand. Does he does he have psychic powers? His psychic powers. Okay. I just don't like psychic powers. I mean, like, I like it, like, if a villain has it, like, or if a side character has it. Like, I don't dislike... I'm not, like, putting down a story because a character has psychic powers, but just an overpowered hero with psychic powers doesn't seem fun to me. That's it. Like, One Punch Man, for me, the idea that there's so many different abilities, but his ability is just, like, simple punches, and he beats everybody, that's fun for a gag manga for me. I understand this isn't really a gag manga, but I think just, I just don't, like, psychic powers, they inherently seem really broken to me in a world where maybe lots of other characters don't have psychic powers or whatever. So psychic powers already seem, like, really busted. So it's just, like, I guess it would be like watching Tatsumaki as the main character and seeing Tatsumaki's stuff in comparison to the rest of the S-Class Hero stuff. It's not... Like, it's fun in spurts, like when she's fighting against Saikorochi and stuff, but at the same time, it just seems so ridiculous. It just seems ridiculous that she's even put in the same class as the other S-Class Heroes. They should just make a separate class, because it's just like, well, these are all actual fighters and stuff like that. And then she's just this SSSSS class character that's just like a weapon of mass destruction. So I don't know. I like it. Geesey says, I'm going to Goon and Edge. Wait, why was his comment deleted? His comment was okay. I thought his comment was funny. He came in all caps. I'm gonna Goon and Edge. To this stream? That's crazy. Alright. Back to the plan. Mob isn't very fun. The most fun part is Reagan. Okay. Frank Lotion says, literally everyone that watched it loved it, and it's much better than One Punch Man in every possible way. Okay. I will treat it like I treated Haikyuu, wherein even though every fiber of my being and my instincts are telling me that, like, I won't like this, and there's nothing, literally not a single aspect of it outwardly that seems appealing to me, I will try it, and I may find out that I like it. I'll go with the Haikyuu mentality. The one thing is that you guys showed me, I think I wouldn't even give it the Haikyuu treatment if not for the fact that you guys showed me that fight scene, and that fight scene was really cool. is really, really cool. Geezy's coming through saying, yeah, this Geezy dude should get banned. Fading faces, W Morj, you won't regret it. Alright, I mean, I think I'll try it. I think I'll try it next. I think all I want right now is some fun action anime. That's all I want. I think that I just want to be able to kind of shut my brain off and enjoy an action anime. That's why I enjoyed Fate Zero for a good amount of time. But then after a certain point, they kept talking about bullshit. Like, a lot. Like, a lot. And then they thought that I cared a lot about the Masters. I don't. I just want to see the servants fight. And so at a certain point, I was like, all right, I don't care for this series that much now. Once I saw, I guess spoilers, but this is from 2011, right? So it's been over a decade, right? Once I saw Gilgamesh's final fight, and I know it's his final fight, I was like, okay, that was fun. Now I'm not really that interested. Now that they've set up something which is like Saber, like Artoria versus Lancelot, and it's just like, oh my fucking god. So now we have to get probably some fucking flashback to her time in King Arthur's court and like her as Lancelot to make some sort of message about like what it means to be a good king or something. I'm just like, just show me the fight. Just show me the fight. Saber/Artoria is not an interesting or compelling enough character for me to care to get a fucking backstory of this fucking cardboard-ass character, to get a backstory about, like, her time in fucking... The moment it was just, like, I had a feeling it was, like, some knight that like, from the Round Table or something. The moment it was confirmed, it was like, oh, now we have to listen to fucking King Arthur talk to fucking Lancelot, and she's gonna be like, oh my god, did you turn out this way because I didn't live up to the proper ideal of being a king? It's just like, just fight! That's all I came here for. Just fight. And then the main matchup is between two fucking masters. I don't want to see two masters fight. And I don't think their stories are that compelling or interesting. So I don't care about any sort of philosophical discussions that come out of it. I think I'm ranting about something to a very, very small minority of people who know what I'm ranting about. But I just need some action anime. That's all I want. Some good-ass action anime. That's what Bleach 1,000 Year Blood War really fulfilled for me. I think almost every single episode had some good action. And even if it didn't have good action, I still enjoy Bleach and its characters. You know, I enjoy that world. And each episode is very dramatically directed, and it's just a cool visual treat, visual production-wise. It's just artistically done. So even if there's no action in a given episode, you're just enjoying the vibes. It feels very cool to just chill, smoke a little bit, turn on Bleach, get that nice purple backdrop going on in the sky. The painting style of the Wander, right, like whatever the fucking city they're in right now, whatever they fucking called it or whatever. Yeah, and just enjoy just enjoy the colors. The Bleach is, yeah, and I enjoy a lot of the writing changes and everything too. So 1,000 Year Blood War, I'm genuinely loving. This is gonna make me, I have to reframe so much of how I feel about Bleach's conclusion. I might feel like this is the best Bleach arc when all is said and done. It's just hard to compare. It's hard to compare because so much is based on like anime versus manga adaptations, but this is also like writing changes that weren't in the manga, tone changes that weren't in the manga. It's just really fucking hard to compare. I think already I view it as a better arc than Soul Society now, but I have to see how it concludes. Because lots of times I'm on that train of this is better than X is better than Y until I see the conclusion. Soul Society, I think one of my favorite things about that arc is that the conclusion was so absurdly satisfying. The conclusion of Soul Society was just phenomenal. The entire segment of Ichigo showing up to save Rukia, the entire section of the execution through Ichigo defeating Byakuya is probably the single most badass section of a shonen hero, like, of a shonen hero just, like, showing out that I've ever seen. It's just such a perfectly executed, like, Ichigo, by the way, was my favorite main character in anime and manga for all of middle school. I think it shifted back to Luffy some point in the fucking Arrancar arc. I got fucking sick of Ichigo and his bullshit. But yeah, I still think if you were to encapsulate just like badass shonen hero, like what's a perfect run for them, it would be Ichigo from showing up to stop the execution, saving Rukia, stopping the sword that can never be stopped, like the execution sword that can be never stopped by anybody, like looking down at everybody, all the captains in awe of this dude that they underestimated the entire time. Then him just like barehanded fucking up 3 lieutenants in a row, and then just humiliating Byakuya for a good period of time. Obviously, Byakuya starts keeping up as the fight goes on later on, and then it gets like more difficult and dramatic. But the 80% of that fight is Ichigo humiliating Byakuya. It's just perfect segment, and then and leading up to the Bankai reveal and everything like that. Yeah, I think it'll be very hard to top that in terms of just peak satisfying conclusion. But 1,000-Year Blood War is a very different type of story, so it could probably go do some other angle towards it. I don't know. Could be very satisfying in a different way. King G, thanks for bringing Yonko to remember for a month. The character that Loki spoke to crosses paths with the Holy Knights, maybe to protect Loki. Oh, interesting prediction. Hold on. Let's get back into it. Okay. The character... Okay, Mosa crosses paths with the God's Knights, perhaps to protect Loki. That's a good prediction. All right, let's get the likes up to 100 real quick. It's a fun action anime. Okay, cool. Preston Van says Solo Leveling is good. Solo Leveling, I watched the first episode. Phenomenal first episode. And then I think I watched the second episode, and there wasn't anything wrong with it. Maybe I'll keep watching Solo Leveling. Palta says, did he end up liking Haikyuu? I ended up really, really enjoying Haikyuu. And I have some, like, maybe it's just my nature. I have some, like, anytime I think of Haikyuu, I still think, in my head, one of the first things I think is corny. That's one of the first things I think. But then I have to check myself, because I'm like, I have to flash back. I watched Haikyuu, not the whole thing. I took a pause, but I watched the first season. And I have to check myself every time I think of critiquing Haikyuu, because I was watching the final volleyball match in season 1 of Haikyuu. And literally there were I was so invested, there were 2 times in that volleyball match that I'm watching by myself, okay? It's just me in bed. This was like last year, I think I watched Haikyuu, or very, very early this year. It was earlier this year. So it's me, I've got my laptop out, by myself, watching Haikyuu. So it's the final volleyball match of a series that I've criticized to no end without ever having watched it. I am so invested that I'm literally verbally exclaiming multiple, like it happened twice in that volleyball match. There were 2 times that I verbally exclaimed when, like, I think it was maybe when, like, Tall Dude and Kageya, I don't remember the names now. Like, there were 2 times that, like, certain moments of teamwork or certain moments of breakthrough happened and a point was scored that I actually verbally exclaimed, and I was like, yes. Or like I did stuff that I would actually do if I was watching an actual sports game where you don't know the where it's a different level of tension because you don't know the outcome, stuff like that. It's real life. I was doing, like, the series had hooked me in so well into this volleyball match that I was feeling those same emotions watching something that I know is scripted. So I can no longer critique Haikyuu. I'm banned from that because it got me pretty good. I still think the moment of Hinata grabbing that ball is not that cool. To be fair, I first watched that moment out of context a long time ago, and so maybe I was already ready for the moment and not impressed by it, therefore not impressed by it. But I would say that maybe that's also just because I don't find Hinata to be a hype or compelling character just yet. I think there's probably more that has to happen for me to enjoy Hinata. Fading Faces, Soul Society, or Any Slobby? Any Slobby, by a good margin. I still think Any Slobby is the peak of what traditional shonen writing is, which is, like, it's the peak of like young, like appealing to the feelings of youth, desire to um desire to like how to explain, like shonen appeals a lot, like shonen is targeted at younger people, right? So a lot of shonen is appealing to the idea of like young kids, like young people basically breaking past their limits, coming together with their friends because that's the period of your time that friends are what matter the most to you, etc. Protecting each other and just standing up in the face of great adversity, often in the face of like doing what is thought to not be possible for like young kids like you, right? And that's what, and like power, friendship, willpower, believing in yourself, etc. Breaking past expectations of you, right? That's and often for the sake of people you care about, protecting them, etc. Right? I think Enies Lobby is the ultimate manga arc that encapsulates those traditional shonen ideals. I don't want to hear any Hunter x Hunter shit because Hunter x Hunter is not really about. It's very very different, right? I'm saying traditional, like basic vanilla shonen ideals. Enies Lobby is the perfect story written around that, in my opinion, from start to finish. However, just in terms of pure badass from start to finish, like just hero fantasy, like almost like I want to be that dude, right? Like just appealing to that childlike set, like taking me back to my middle school self of just like that's so cool. I want to be that guy. Like that was the sickest thing imaginable. This is just such a rush of like just fantasy fulfillment or whatever. It's Ichigo from the execution stand moment through defeating Byakuya. That whole stretch just appeals to something very, 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 very deep in, I think, all of our psyches, I think. Maybe not all of our psyches, but there's just something really, really, really cool about that section. I did go back and try and watch old Bleach fights from Soul Society recently because I was so hooked on Thousand Year Blood War. I couldn't do it. I think the animation is a bit too dated. I started with Ichigo versus Ikkaku, which is maybe not the best place to start, but I wanted to go through the whole run of like, you know, Ikkaku, then Renji, then Kenpachi, and then Byakuya, or lieutenants, then Byakuya. But I started with Ikkaku, and I was just like, I can't do it. The animation's too dated, the pacing's too dated. It's just not enjoyable. Maybe Bleach will get a reboot. Or I predict that, not predict, it's not even a crazy prediction at this point, but like I feel like, especially once the WIT Studio, the One Piece adaptation got announced, I'm certain that Naruto will get a fresh coat of paint at some point, Bleach will get a fresh coat of paint at some point. There's too much money in those series not to do it. Eric J.O., thanks for being a Yonko tier member for 15 months. Prediction. Stabs demonstrates use of observation haki cancellation similar to Shanks, whose title from the red sources is Observation Haki Killer. Oh, yeah. Yeah, that was an interesting reveal. It's interesting that Shanks is really good at both Future Sight and canceling out other characters' observation haki. It seems almost unfair. Shanks's brother is revealed to be able to cancel out / negate observation haki similar to Shanks. Eric J.O. Torchlight 17 says, what is the best action anime of all time? Fucking Demon Slayer in my opinion. I don't know. I think it's Demon Slayer. I think Demon Slayer is just the fucking coolest shit in terms of its action sequences. Kunal Dashawal, thanks a lot. Prediction, we'll see Vagabond stopping intruders / conquers haki. Oh shit, that could be a cool step. Like, that could be a cool interaction. I'm not going to commit you to saying Vagabond. Mystery dude. I'll leave it a little open for you. Stopping intruders and / or using Dan says Naruto's getting a live action movie though? I don't know. Maybe. Is that confirmed? Also, is that confirmed? Confirmed. Also, let's get the stream likes up to 100. I don't think any anime would do well getting a live action movie. I think if they should be adapted, it should be live action format. Live action format like TV. Simply because I think that getting the live action TV format is better just because anime are written to be longer form stories, so it's really difficult to just turn it into a singular movie when you're not going to be able to tell the type of story you're trying to tell. Anime in general are particularly written with a large amount of characters in mind. Manga, written with a large amount of characters in mind. And in film, films are generally going to be best when they focus on a very small cast of characters as the main characters and mainly one character. It's going to be very difficult to tell. Unless you're just doing something like the first arc of Naruto, like the Mist, the Mist arc, Zabuza and everything like that. I think that could work as a live action movie. I definitely think that could work as a live action movie. It's a short enough arc, it could work. But if you're doing anything bigger that involves more ninjas, Chunin exam, etc., I don't know about that. I personally think that Naruto should take the leap and just try and do a live action series like One Piece, because the cool thing about One Piece's success is that One Piece wasn't like Naruto was more successful and more of a recognizable name globally than One Piece for years. And I would say even before up till the live action One Piece, that's when One Piece probably overtook Naruto in household name recognition. But Naruto was much more well known than One Piece globally for a long, long, long time. So if One Piece can break through that barrier with its live action, then Naruto already has more built-in recognizability, I think, in the West. Pre-live action, I think Naruto had more recognizability in at least the West than One Piece did, like manga to manga, anime to anime. So I think it's already probably got a slightly bigger base to work with than One Piece. Although I think One Piece started to catch up after Naruto and Bleach ended, and One Piece just continued on for years. So, but at the very least, I think the bases would be comparable pre-live action, right? So if One Piece's live action succeeded with the base that One Piece had beforehand worldwide, I think Naruto's live action would succeed as well, like an English-speaking live action. The tricky thing is that I think one of the reasons that people aren't quite getting why the One Piece live action succeeded the way it did is because One Piece has, the way it's written is inherently a bit more silly and goofy, right? Like the tone is more cartoonish from the get-go, and then it in the anime, right? Anime and manga, One Piece right from the beginning, it's more of a cartoonish, almost whimsical, definitely whimsical, zany, goofy story from the beginning that then surprisingly delves into more serious subjects in spurts as it goes on, right? That tone gives a far greater sort of safety net or range of leniency in terms of quality for a live action, because generally speaking, if you're producing a live action TV series or film where the tone is more silly, comical, goofy, and then in moments you're trying to delve into seriousness or whatever, you're giving yourself more breathing room to be bad. Does that make sense? Because putting on stuff that's deliberately goofy, silly, etc., it can afford to be corny or not that polished at points because it's lighter, right? And then that means that when it's trying to do serious stuff, even if the serious stuff doesn't hit, then at the end of the day, people are like my sister, for example, she mentioned that she didn't care about any of the backstories in the One Piece live action. But she said that she had fun watching the characters and that she thought the comedy was funny and that she just liked the vibe of the crew, right? So that's something you can get away with when the story is a lighter, more cartoonish type of story from the get-go. It's when you're trying to do something that's more serious from the top. It's harder to nail genuine, more genuine, grounded works because just people are looking at it through a different light. Naruto, while it is comedy and comical, right? Like there is elements of comedy in Naruto, of course. The world is not goofy and zany the way One Piece's world is. And so they would be having to try and do like the idea of ninjas and an ninja village and everything like that a bit more. They'd have to play it a bit more straight. And so just by having to hit that sort of more like sincere tone with everything, it immediately, like in One Piece, like the villains are wacky, right? Like Buggy the Clown, that's a wacky ass character, right? Like fucking like, and so when it's portrayed in the live action, it's like this is kind of a corny, stupid, silly character. It's like childish, but it's like okay, but it works with the tone. Same with like Kuro's subordinates, like Sham and Buchi. It's like these cat pirates are looking fucking ridiculous and stuff, but it's like it works. Naruto, the tone is just more. It's more like there are gag characters like Might Guy, but like that's relatively tame by One Piece standards or something, right? Like something like a Zabuza and a Haku and things like that, or a Gaara, like everything is done more like it's not super serious, like it's not fucking Berserk, but it's more serious than One Piece. So therefore, if you're trying to get audiences to buy into the universe that you're creating, you actually need good quality. In general, anything that's done more grounded in terms of how its tone is, you need to actually have good quality, right? Like I think that's a big reason why Yu Yu Hakusho, because it's not as like it wasn't a good live action anime by most people's standards, because it's not as silly, like it can't afford to be as silly and whimsical as One Piece. So what you've got at the end of the day is like just a poor attempt at a serious show, you know? All right, catching up here. 1 second. Travis, thanks for the 5. Prediction: Shanks' brother will be Bonnie's biological father. When Oda drew gender swap Bonnie, she had the exact same facial hair as Shanks. Oh, I've heard of this theory, and that is a really, really interesting theory. Because that would connect perfectly to Bonnie's character storyline. Like, she's still with the crew and everything, and it seems like there's still more stuff to be done with her character. So it adds to the idea that some stuff will be connected here for her. And there is, I think, in this... I think a lot of people have been talking about like how fatherhood might be a theme in I don't know if a lot of people have been talking, but people have been talking about how like Usopp Yasopp, that's going to be an idea. I've been talking about that in Elbaf. And then you think about Loki and King Harold. You think about Luffy and Shanks, that sort of dynamic. It's possible that fatherhood is going to be an important theme in Elbaf, so I'm interested about that. Colin and his father, who knows. Shanks' brother will be, and thanks for your first super ever, Travis, I appreciate it, will be Bonnie's biological father. So that's the main prediction. This is from Travis. Bitey McGar, thanks for being a Yonko tier member for 4 months. Prediction: Jarl and the Straw Hats visit Yorl's grave to honor his memory. If that's the fucking chapter, I'm gonna be pissed. That bum does not deserve to have his memory honored. Literally, the leader of the, or like one of the chiefs of the greatest warrior nation on the planet, and you lose to a 5-year-old. And that's your death, your honorable death, right? I think they even complained that it wasn't an honorable enough death. And it's like, if it's not an honorable enough death for you all, then maybe you shouldn't have fucking lost, you know? Did they complain? Let me see. Let me see what this bum said. Not this bum. I mean, I might like this bum once I start watching the show, you know? I'll see. It's just like... the psychic power thing. It's just like, I'm not interested in watching a show where... I guess what I'm imagining is that it's a series where, like, the main character basically is like a Tatsumaki amongst a bunch of other... amongst the rest of the hero organization. And it's just like... that's just not fun to me. I don't know. Just the ability set is just not... I don't know. But maybe it's good. You guys say it's good. I just don't think I'll enjoy his fights. Like, I just don't enjoy watching... like, with psychic abilities, just like... you just wave your hand and you can control other people or control objects and stuff. It just doesn't seem fun to me. Doesn't seem fun. I don't know. I'll still give it a shot. Let's see what happened to this dude. I think it was this chapter, right? All right, let's see. One more. All right. You made a terrible mistake, Lin. Blah, blah, blah. She's a god of disaster. All right. Why does Viz do this? Why call it Chief Beardfall and then... Or is it two different chiefs? Maybe I'm confused. Alright. Alright. Chief... Why does it do this? So, no, it's Chief Beardhill and then Chief Beardfall. But then why do they call him Chief Yorl here? Can anybody tell me? Is this just Viz things? It's just Viz things? A warrior is not defined... This bum. A warrior is not defined by his ears, but how he dies. This is an unforgivable crime. So they're like upset that he didn't get to die in an honorable way. Dude, you suck. You lost to this 5-year-old. You shouldn't have stepped up if you're going to lose. This is like... I fucking hate these bum-ass chiefs of Elbaf. Okay, the reason of my hate is that we'd been hyped up about Elbaf for so fucking long. Like, told over and over in the story that these are the strongest fucking motherfuckers on the planet, right? And then we get to the Giants' village, and then they're basically used as hype tools to hype up 5-year-old Big Mom. And it's like... Why? Who made them chiefs? Why did what? How did this happen? This is so embarrassing. They killed so much hype for Elbaf single-handedly, like the Elbaf Giants, right? Loki's brought it back. So, Loki's doing his job. But the bums, like fucking Tweedledee and Tweedledumbass, the worst village chiefs of all time, like, they've really fucked up Elbaf's reputation. For a long time. I mean, Hadrudin was a bum as well, but in comparison to these two, he's like fucking Kaido. You know what I'm saying? Like, in comparison to these two, he might as well be like fucking Prime Whitebeard or something, you know? Hadrudin, the Slayer of Makvis. Anyway. So you said that they visit their grave, Yorl's grave. Alright, what an exciting chapter. I hope you're incorrect, Bitey McGar, but I appreciate the prediction submission. Jarl and the Straw Hats visit the bum's grave to honor his memory. Daniel Ramos, thanks for your first super ever, man. I appreciate it. Holy shit. Do you think Elbaf's real sun god, which lives at the top of the tree, is a holy knight or somehow connected to the world government? I predict we get a hint of that next chapter. So that's interesting. That's a really good question because, as the chapters are coming out, I already believe that the God's Knights were the villains of Elbaf sometime back, right? Like several chapters prior. So I was already under that impression. I believe that. Then I also dropped the video. So I had a video talking about how the God's Knights are the villains of Elbaf. Then they started talking about the Heaven Realm, and there were a lot of hints that there's like an alternate concept of the Sun God here. And so then I dropped a video talking about how there's an evil god in the Sun God realm. And so... then I did start to think for a little bit that maybe it's like God's Knights that are masquerading as a sun god up there. And then it got complicated because it's just like, okay, so potentially it's God's Knights. But like, so there's so many pieces here. So it's like, I feel like Uh, it's always sunny. Charlie bored. I feel like yeah, I feel like Charlie in this image right now. Okay, because in my opinion, right now what we've got is here, Microsoft Paint this. All right. So I feel like right now what we got is like, this got to be bigger. We got gods, knights, villains, right? But then we've also told that we got heaven, mysterious heaven realm above Elbaf, above even royal family. Right, so we got that. And then we've also got... How do I make this thing go away? I guess it doesn't really go away. Okay. And then we've also got, like, strong hints of alternate version of sun god in Elbaf culture. Right? And then we got... Look, like, if anybody can piece this together, congratulations, all right? And then we also got, don't stay in Elbaf too long. Okay, so, meaning some problem intrinsic to the island. Right? And then we've also got Loki thinks he's sun god who will destroy the world? What the fuck? Right, so we got a lot of god shit going on here. Like we got you guys see like the different little question marks, right? So there are hints of an alternate version of a sun god in here in Elbaf, okay? We see what Roto dresses up as. We see the same symbol that Roto dressed up as featured in all of the Giants' ships, right? The way the Giants talk about the sun god is very different than the way they talk about Nika. Loki thinks the sun god is supposed to destroy the world. So we have hints of an alternate version of sun god in Elbaf culture. Maybe that's true, maybe that's not true. What we do know is Loki thinks he's the sun god who will destroy the world. But we also know that there's a mysterious heaven realm above Elbaf that we've yet to explore. And we know that there's some mysterious problem with Elbaf that we have yet to understand. So my first instinct is that these things are tied together. Maybe there is an evil sun god in Elbaf, that's why I dropped that video, who lives in Heaven Realm. So throwback to Skypiea, or maybe Skypiea was foreshadowing this arc in some sense. But then at the same time, we've got God's Knights, and that's related to the idea of God as well, just Emu's Knights in this case. And they seem clearly set to be the villains of Elbaf's storyline, or at least prominent villains. And then they're interested in Loki. So it's just like, we've got we've got this situation basically going on right now, right? We've got this situation. It's very juicy stuff. This is probably the most excited I've been, even though the least has happened plot-wise in Elbaf compared to several other arcs this many chapters in, about 10 chapters in. The least has happened plot-wise. Is that fair to say? Yeah, very little has happened plot-wise. At the same time, the mystery elements are really, really strong at the opening part of this arc. It feels similar to Water 7 and East Lobby in a sense, in that, you know, we're dropped into Water 7, we're learning about the island, we're learning about strange shit going on, like, or potentially threads that could turn into something on the island. There's some conspiracy aspects. We learn there's something off with, like, what's happening with Robin. CP9 is told to be there, kind of like how the Gods Knights arrived here. It's just a really cool setup. It's a really, really cool setup. So my thoughts are basically this. I think there's two routes. I think either this stuff is all connected. I don't know, I did that. Either this stuff is all connected and the Gods Knights are just separate figures who are mainly interested in Loki being the sun god, or Loki having a sun god fruit or whatever, or all of this stuff. All of this stuff is connected, and therefore, like, maybe the God's Knights are tied to Heaven Realm, and maybe the God's Knights actually have been influencing Elbaf in some way for a long time without the citizens of Elbaf even knowing it or something like that. And therefore, the God's Knights were always tied to the intrinsic problems of Elbaf. I think that's the two routes at the moment. Maybe there's other routes that I'm not yet seeing, but it's definitely a really, really cool setup, in my opinion, right now. So I'm very excited about the direction of Elbaf. All right, continuing on. Patrick Hawkins, thanks for the 10, man. You have Mob 100% wrong. L take, man. Well, I don't know. I haven't watched it yet. I do know that the action sequence you guys showed me is very exciting. I just don't know. I'm just like, would I have fun watching Tatsumaki just beat up on characters a bunch over and over? I think no. That's not a fun ability for me to watch. I don't know. I might try. I think I will still try it and read it or watch it. Ahmed Hisham says, "Hey Morj, my circumcision scars won't heal. Who's the best coctologist in New Delhi?" First of all, in India, circumcision's not a thing, so I don't really know. Bitey McGar says, I didn't mean the whole chapter, Morj. If there's a single page in this chapter dedicated to them checking in on the bum, I will be upset. That's all I gotta say. Anyway, continuing on. Muglatan, thanks for the 10. Uruj is chilled in God's Lair of Elbaf. That's a phenomenal prediction. I wouldn't be surprised, even if that's not confirmed next chapter. I wouldn't be surprised if that turns out to be correct down the line. So if you come through in a future prediction stream, just drop that prediction again until you get it right eventually. Oh wait, I'm putting your name down. Uruj is chilling in God's Lair of Elbaf. Muglatan. What if Uruj is secretly like really fucking strong now? Like really, really, really absurdly strong at this point. Like stupidly, ridiculously strong. And he's the reason that he became the sun god of Elbaf, and he's the reason that you can't stay, don't stay too long at Elbaf, otherwise fucking Uruj will get you. Although, obviously, Louis Arnott wrote that 100 years ago or something like that, so that's not going to be the case. But at the same time, it would just be funny. Alright. Anyway. Mob's not really about the fights. Says it's genuine. I mean, most shonen aren't just about the fights, except for Jujutsu Kaisen, where that's kind of the main thing. But they're vehicles to get to the fights, you know? I don't know. We'll see. As long as there's good fights. It's even less about the fights than One Piece. Oh my god. I don't think I'm gonna like Mob Psycho. Unless it's actually really well written. Is it really well written? Jacob says, typical Morj arc of having preconceived notions of a series, then finding out it's actually entertaining. That's happened to me so many times, it's crazy. I think that, you would think I would learn, right? You would think I would learn. You think I'd learn after, Haikyuu, after, there's been several instances of this, I think. There's been several instances of this. You would think I would eventually realize that, hey, maybe if everyone's suggesting this, that maybe I would like it. But, I refuse. I'll still give Mob Psycho a shot, though. Just because you guys made me watch that fight scene, and it was cool. Bitey McGar says Bumbath. Yeah. Alright. Continuing on. Yeah, Pepe Silvia. Yeah, that was what... Pepe Silva? I think it was Pepe Silvia was what Charlie was obsessed with. Ares told, thanks for the 2, and thanks for your first super ever. Robin will find out important lore in the library. I would love to see that. Robin finds out important lore in the library. Ezra is told. And let's get the stream likes up to 100 real quick. GDN, thanks for the what's happening? Okay, now I'm behind a few. Let me catch up. GDN, thanks for the 2. Sanji jobs to someone as a hype tool. That is unfortunately very, very possible. Sanji jobs to someone as a hype tool. At least at this point, if Sanji's eyebrow is not flipped, it doesn't really matter, right? If Sanji's... Because I think so far in the story, Sanji, with his eyebrow flipped, has not yet had a bad showing, right? As far as I can recall. So, we still got that, right? We still have that at least upside for him. So like now he's almost free to job to any character, and it doesn't really mean anything, you know? Because without his eyebrow flipped, he's basically the same level as he was like, you know, when he fought Doflamingo or whatever, which isn't that impressive. DeWinks Deusti, that's an interesting name. Thanks for the 2. Shanks/Banks will finally speak. Unfortunately, I think that must be somewhat bold. I think it's got to fall into that category. I think that's a little bit too easy. I appreciate the submission though. The Water God, thanks a lot for the 5. It is revealed that Ural is actually alive with amnesia and has a tearful reunion with Jarl for the whole chapter. I think it must be somewhat bold though. I think that it needs to be actually, you know, I think that is too likely to happen next chapter, considering recent events, to put that down. Unfortunately, I'm just kidding. I'll put it down, but it's like 4 bad Oda tropes at one. Reveal that they're actually alive with amnesia, tearful reunion, everything together. It has a tearful reunion with Quantum Beware. Thanks for the 5. Hey Morj, first time sending in a stream prediction. Thanks. Good to get you on the board. Robin's newspaper will grow and Chopper will see Vivi's message. Robin's newspaper will grow and Chopper will see Vivi's message. Robin's newspaper will grow, Chopper will see Vivi's message. Her newspaper will grow and holy shit, that's actually that's a really cool prediction. That's a really, really cool prediction. What a way to connect that. Robin's newspaper will grow and Chopper will see Vivi's message. That's a really cool prediction. I'm going to leave out Banks continues aura farming because that's probably likely. Quantum Beware. That would be a really good way for that to happen. For them to get the reveal. I'll also give this to you if you're just correct that Chopper ends up seeing Vivi's message through the newspaper Robin has or something. Aether, thanks to the 2. We learn more lore about the Atom Tree. I fucking hope so, because it's interesting. And it might be related to the Sunny. Also, always good to see you, Aether. Thank you. Dick so small I piss on my balls. Always good to see you. Thanks for the 5. The Giants' misconception that the Strahds beat Big Mom is cleared up. Cleared up. What are they supposed to learn? That no one beat Big Mom? That's not exciting. I think it's cooler if they believe that the Strahds beat Big Mom, but, you know. Because otherwise it's just not an exciting story. It's like, oh, you know, it was during a battle that we were all involved in. So we kind of led to the series of events that led to Big Mom being defeated by TNT. But it's just less exciting to tell the Giants that, like, oh, well, your sworn enemy was defeated by a Big Bomb. It's just not the same. I don't know. But, you know, let's see. The Giants' misconception that the Straw Hats beat Big Mom is cleared up. Dick so small I All right. Sometimes I take how funny your name is for granted, which I shouldn't. If I think about it, it makes me laugh every time. Also, let's get the stream likes up to 100. We're almost there. Ryan Dufour, thanks for the 2. I think you unfortunately missed the message, but we'll see. Patrick Hawkins says Mob is a masterclass of writing. All right. I'll watch it. Does solo leveling continue to have good action? Because I thought the action in the first episode was really, really good. Thought it was really good. Cheers says if you're not entertained by episode 3, it's not for you. For what, Mob Psycho? The Bad 497 says if you're thinking of reading Vagabond, just read the book it's based off, Musashi by A.G. Yoshikawa. It's great and the story is actually finished. So I have a quick thought about that. Okay. Hold on. Because everyone says Vagabond is like the most brilliantly written manga, or one of the most brilliantly written manga, that, Berserk, stuff like that, right? Everyone says Vagabond's so brilliantly written. So my question is the manga brilliantly written? Or is the book brilliantly written, and the manga is just taking the writing of the book and putting pictures to it? Huh? Can Vagabond fans please, Joseph Lopez says his name is my reality. Dick so small, I piss on my balls. His name is my reality. Huh? Is the manga actually that good? Or are we all just such weebs that we don't read real books? And so when we read a really well-written book with pictures in it, we're like, wow, the author's really, really good here. Is that all it takes? Just take a good book and put some pictures on it, and we're like, wow, this is the best picture book of all time. Is that it? Hank Lotion says, doesn't matter, the manga is beautiful, best looking manga ever made. That's not my question. I didn't say, does Vagabond have good art or not? Obviously, it has good art. I'm saying, is the writing of Vagabond so ingenious? Or is it just from a fucking book that was well written? Vagabond standalone is as good as everyone says. No, what I'm saying is all of the good character writing, brilliant lines of dialogue, etc., is that Vagabond manga original? Or is it just copied and pasted from a book? How many of you have read the book and can compare? McDude says Slam Dunk, Vagabond, and Real are all masterpieces. Stop the slandering. I'm just asking questions. I don't know. Maybe the book is almost nothing like the manga. But my question is, are all of the brilliant lines and stuff in Vagabond, is all of the character writing, is that original shit from the manga, or is it taken from the book? That's my question. Who's the good writer here? Is it the manga author? Is it the mangaka? Or is it the actual book author? That's my question. That's all I'm asking. Superguy521 says the manga is a loose adaptation of the book. All right. I'm going to ask this one more time. Is all the goated lines of dialogue, the great quotes of Vagabond, the character arcs of Vagabond, the character journey of Vagabond, is this original from the mangaka, or is this taken from a book? Is it the mangaka, or is it the book? That's what I want to know. Silence says nobody has ever read the book. We are weebs. That's my only thing, which is just like, so every time people praise Vagabond as this genius work, I'm like, is it a genius work? Because we're just fucking picture book people, and so we think that it's a great work because we don't read, like, or at least we don't read, like, a lot of people who read manga don't read actual books, and so therefore they think that it's a genius work because because it's based off of an actual book. You know what I'm saying? Like, you get what I'm saying here? You get what I'm saying? Okay. But if I make a poll to ask, I just think it's funny if, like, people are like, you know what, Vagabond's this manga's the most genius work of all time. It's like, okay, well, maybe it's just because we're so used to only reading picture books that when we finally read a picture book that's based off of a real book written by a real author, we think it's genius because we're used to just reading picture books. I'm just asking. I just think it's interesting, you know? I'm just curious. Biden McGar says it still takes skill to adapt literary works. Like no one could just adapt Lawrence of Arabia. No, I agree. But I would argue that with Vagabond, the thing that is one striking difference between that versus like a Lawrence of Arabia, right, as you mentioned in your comment, is that film as a medium, there is a lot more that people praise Lawrence of Arabia is generally praised more so for its writing, for its direction, right? It's one of the most brilliantly directed films of all time, right? Vagabond, along with the art, is often praised as the best written manga, one of the best written mangas out there, with some of the best fucking headphone fell out, with the best character writing, best lines of dialogue, etc. I'm just asking, is that stuff that's original to the manga, or is it from a book? I'm not saying the author's a bum who does, like, the mangaka's a bum who does, like, I obviously understand that this is a phenomenal mangaka who's written many other works, and I understand it takes skill to adapt a book, right? But I'm just saying, is all of the great, like, it feels weird to me to be praising the writing of a picture book that is based off of a actual book, you know? Because I'm like, is the picture book's writing genius, or did the picture book mostly just add pictures to what somebody else wrote? That's my question. I just want to know the opinions of people who read the book and read the manga, but my suspicion is that most people did not read the book. Savage J says, was the mangaka supposed to change the story or something? I don't think you get what I'm getting at. I'm just saying, like, I'm just saying that when many people praise Vagabond's writing so much, it's funny to me because I'm just like, is the writing of the manga that good, or is it just like pulling from something else that's already really well written, and we're just picture book readers, baby picture book readers, so then we think that this is, like, now that it's put in picture book format, for us, this is where the genius work is, when in reality it's just being pulled from an actual book. You get what I'm saying? Like, does that make sense? I think you guys are thinking it's an attack on the author or something. Like, no, I know the author is very well reputed in other stories and everything, and I understand it takes skill to adapt, but I'm just like, shit, do people just think that this is like a really, really good work because it's an actually, it's like, it's a really good book that then got turned into a picture book? It's my question. Curtis Jackson says it's like Jurassic Park. I've read the Jurassic Park book and I've watched the Jurassic Park movie. I think a big thing that people are missing between in these comparisons when you're trying to do, well, it's like these movies that were adapted from books. The big difference is that with films, the writing is usually, I mean, in many cases the writing is what's important, but usually with films, it's adding so much more in terms of scene direction, acting, music, etc. Like, usually when we talk about, like, what makes Jurassic Park so great, like such an iconic work, is because it was not because it was such a brilliantly written story. Like, it wasn't some brilliantly written movie. Nobody was fucking coming out of Jurassic Park being like, wow, that was better written than Citizen Kane or something. It was the visuals, right? It was the visuals, the action, the spectacle, the visuals, the scene direction, all of that, right? That's why Jurassic Park is one of the first ever blockbuster films, right? It had a plot, so they took the plot from the book and they changed a whole bunch of shit. With Vagabond, the difference is that the writing is really, really what's praised, right? Obviously, the art is what's praised as well, but many people praise Vagabond as being this masterpiece because it's so well written and Musashi's character arc is so well written. I will feel like a real dunce if I read Vagabond and I'm like, wow, this is my favorite book ever, my favorite character arc ever, this is my favorite written story ever, and it's like, listen, Morj, you child, you're just reading a picture book version of a real book. And so the thing that you think is the best written thing that you've ever read is, in fact, just a just a simplified adaptation of an actual serious work of, like, an actual serious book that they threw some pictures on, basically. You get what I'm saying? I would personally feel like a dunce if that's the case. you know? So I don't know if I can read Vagabond because I don't want to feel like a dunce. You get what I'm saying? I would just feel embarrassed to be sitting there being like, wow, Vagabond is the smartest, bestest piece of writing that I've ever read. And it's like, okay, well, you didn't even read the real Vagabond. You read a picture book version of it. And then this is your favorite thing. Does that make sense? Does that make sense? Does that make sense? So I kind of need to understand how much of Vagabond's genius writing in the manga is unique to the manga, and how much is just taking what the book already did and adding some pictures to it. No, man, the art elevates the story so much. Inoue is a master. I'm not contesting that the manga... You guys are taking this as an assault on the manga, on the mangaka. The mangaka is obviously really great. He's written so many other great works. I am just asking... You guys are dodging the question. You guys are dodging the question. The book and the manga are very different. Okay, so is the character arc, the genius character arc that's in the manga, very different than the books? That's my question number one. And my second question is, are the great lines of dialogue in the manga, are they different than from the books? Those are my questions. Read the book and find out. It sounds like most of you haven't read the book. It sounds like most of you haven't read the book. What the fuck? Oh boy, it's Bean says, by this logic, just read Journey to the West for every shonen. That is such a poor comparison. It's insane. The only Do you think One Piece is actually an adaptation of Journey to the West? Because it's not. No one would ever argue that One Piece is an actual adaptation of Journey to the West. That's not. No one here knows. That's the problem. That's the problem. I'm just calling it out like I see it. I'm just like, okay, so is this manga that genius, or is it just pulling its genius writing from a book that's genius, and then simplifying it most likely and adding pictures to it? That's my question. Because I would personally feel like a dunce if I then went around saying that this is my favorite work ever. So I don't want to do that. So I need to get some clarification from people who have read the book. Is the genius character arc in the manga original to the manga, or is it first written in a book and then the manga just adds pictures to it? Right? That's my question number one. Then two, are the brilliant lines of dialogue in the manga original to the manga, or is it first in a book and then we just add pictures and simplify it and likely cut a lot of stuff? That's my question. I just want to know. Guts says we're American, we don't read books. If anybody in the comments had read the books, I think people are getting defensive because most people in the comments, many people have Vagabond as their favorite manga, and they have not read the book, so they don't know how much of their favorite work is, how much of the genius of it is actually original to the work and how much is pulled from another source. And so they're getting defensive over it. I'm saying don't get defensive. Just tell me, if you have read the book or not, how much of Masashi's character arc, the genius writing of it, how much of it is unique to the book, how much of it's unique to the book, and how much of the great lines of dialogue in Vagabond are unique to the book, and how much is just copy-paste from, or unique to the manga, and how much is copy-paste from the book. That's just what I want to know. That's just what I want to know. Squid Goofy says only one way to find out. I'm not going to fucking read Vagabond, book or manga, unless you guys can tell me these questions. Somebody should fucking know. Somebody should have fucking read the book out of all you Vagabond fans in the chat. What the fuck? All right. I don't know. I'm not shitting on the mangaka. I'm sure the mangaka is phenomenal. I'm asking questions about the work. The mangaka has done so many great works that I know that he's a phenomenal writer, one of the greatest mangaka of all time. Some people say he's the greatest mangaka of all time. I'm just talking about Vagabond specifically. Guts says, I honestly got no clue if it copied quotes. Seems no one knows. The fact that not a single one of you can answer my question is insane to me. I don't know. All right. Torchlight17 says, Morj, put a pin in it and bring it up later. For anybody watching the VODs, please tell me. I just want information about Vagabond. That's it. I just want information about Vagabond. That's all I got to say. All right. Continuing on. I'm going to catch up on supers real quick. Daniel Ramos, thanks for the 10. Chapter 1096 in God's Valley, a panel shows a God's Knight wearing the Elbaf's God mask. Yeah, I know. Just behind Garland. Looks like big foreshadowing by Oda. Yeah, so we've talked about this. I actually dropped a prediction a long while back saying that, like, this is going to be, like, that's who Roto is, and it turned out to be just fucking Roto. That was an incorrect prediction, obviously. But we can revisit it now with new information. We can revisit and take a quick look. Let's take a peek. Let's take a peek at this guy. For all we know, maybe that dude's up there in the Sun Realm, tricking people. Or not, Heaven's Realm. Primo Showtime, thanks for the 5. We will see Shanks and Bandage Lady walking towards Loki at the end of the chapter. Shanks and okay, yeah, that could happen. God's Knights walk towards Loki by end of chapter. Daniel Ramos. Primo Showtime, thanks for the 5. We will see... No, we covered that. Oh, shoot, I mixed it up. No, this is by Primo Showtime, not Daniel Ramos. I'm sorry, man. Primo Showtime, thank you. Daniel Ramos, thank you as well for bringing this up. Let's see. So, I know what you're talking about. It's the dude with the skull head. People said that it looks very... Like, there's a lot of debate around this. Like, does it look the same? Does it not look the same? I think it looks remarkably similar. I think this is something we have to wait and see. I think this is a wait and see. I think it looks remarkably similar, though, to what Roto was wearing. Alright. DeWinks, do you stay? Thanks for the 2. Luffy displays Gear 5 to the Giants equals lore. Yeah, maybe. Luffy displays Gear 5 to the Giants. Alright. 00 Flevens, thanks for the 2. Prediction, Luffy Not gonna put that one down. Luffy pops that Rubussy. What the fuck? Let's just get this 3 likes up to 150 real quick. Evan G says, looking very skibbity riz today, Morj. Thank you, I appreciate it. Kino the Far, thanks for the 5. Hey, Morj, miss you. Hey, Kino, it's been a while. I'm currently evacuating from the fires. Oh, shit, I'm sorry, man. Oh, my God, what is it like over there? But I had to check in. Hey, save your money, man. You've got bigger situations going on. If this is, in fact... You have had a long string of misfortunes hit you in the past, many of which I don't know have actually occurred for real or not, so I'm hesitant to know whether or not you're telling the truth, but I'm going to err on the side of this sounds too serious to not be true, so I hope you're doing okay. I think Loki has the real Gum Gum fruit, and that's why he's the sun god. I think that's an interesting possibility. I just don't know if Oda's going to have a real Gum Gum fruit, but let's see. Loki has the real Gum Gum fruit. That'd be... I don't know if we need the real Gum... It's just not even interesting to me to see the real Gum Gum fruit at this point. The Water God, thank you for the 20. Holy shit, man. Even though it is very likely that a false god is in the Heaven Realm, be it the Gods, Knights, or whoever, I would find it very weird if Evil Shanks lives there without being aware I would find it very weird if Shanks lives there without being aware or interfering in any way, especially if it's the world government. Are you saying Evil Shanks? Oh, you're saying if Shanks is regularly at Elbaf and isn't aware of... Oh, okay, I see. Like real Shanks doesn't do anything about that evil god, if there is in fact a god. Maybe Shanks usually just stops by. He just stops by temporarily. It's like a place for him to chill. Maybe he's not even aware of what goes on up there in Heaven Realm. Or maybe whatever's up there in Heaven Realm isn't so bad that Shanks would do something about it. I mean, Colin's dad seems to live there and be okay with it. I'm very curious about Colin's dad at this point. It gives me... The Colin dad situation gives me Rayleigh vibes, because it's just like... but I don't know if it's going to be Gabon or not. It gives me Rayleigh vibes just because it's like... In Saboti, we were introduced to how do I say this? In Sabaody, we were introduced to Shaki, who is this, strong female fighter who told us, like, about this carpenter who is very strong. Or carpenter, shipwright, like, shipcoder who is very, very strong, right? I'm like, oh, I wonder who that is. And then it turns out to be, like, big reveal. It's a huge character. It's the Pirate King's right hand, Silver's Rayleigh, right? In Elbaf, we're being introduced to Ripley, who's telling us about this really strong pirate who seems to live on the island, who's retired. And this character has already been established as being related to Luffy, and so, like, not related to Luffy, but, like, looking forward to Luffy in some way. Likely the person that Crocus was drinking with and everything. So it feels like another Rayleigh-esque reveal is around the corner. The only tricky thing is that Gabon is inherently less exciting than Rayleigh. Inherently less exciting because Rayleigh was the right hand. Gabon would be the next person down the list. So it's just not quite the same pizzazz. And the other tricky part is that when Rayleigh was introduced in the story, it was like, it was a huge deal because at that point in time, the Straughts were still earlier in their journey, right? So characters like Rayleigh were like crazy, crazy strong comparatively. Like crazy, crazy strong comparatively, like way, way, way ahead. So like Rayleigh was like a god to us. So it was like, holy shit, the Pirate King's right hand, that's like a next level character at the moment. Whereas at this point in time, old Gabon, it's like, he's not going to be that strong relative to the Stride crew. Like, obviously, like, Luffy would be stronger than him at this point. Like, Zoro is possibly stronger than him at this point. So I'm curious if there's... The long story of this is I'm curious if it's just a character that none of us are predicting. Like, not Gabon, not Shiki, someone even more exciting. It could be fucking Rocks or some shit like that, but that doesn't really make sense, does it? I'm just like, is there a chance that it's just a character that's so mind-blowing that it's not even on anyone's radar? The simple answer is Gabon. The weird but still very potentially correct answer is Shiki. And then the cool option would just be Oda surprising us with something out of left field that none of us can see coming, kind of like he did with Rayleigh. I just want that Rayleigh reveal again. Rayleigh is still my favorite surprise reveal in the story. Anyway, as for your question, the Water God, false god up there in Heaven's Realm. False god up there in Heaven's Realm. Shanks lives there without being aware or interfering in any way. Yeah, I just feel like... it's possible either Shanks isn't aware, or Shanks is aware, but it just wouldn't be proper for him to go fuck up this god. God damn it. What's going on with my headphones today? Maybe I have them in the wrong ears? I have them in the wrong ears. That's what's going on. I gotta pick up my headphone. I had them switched around. It's supposed to be this. God damn it. Anyway, so like a quick example before I go pick that up. A quick example is just like in Dressrosa, if you... Yeah. In Dressrosa, if you just showed up to that island and you're like, I'm a friend of, I don't know, like, you just show up to that island and you're a friend of the people of Dressrosa or whatever, and then you are like, I'm gonna go fuck up Doflamingo, people would be like, whoa, dude, don't go fuck up Doflamingo. We all fucking love Doflamingo here, right? It'd be like, no, Doflamingo's a bad guy, just trust me. And it'd be like, well, he's not a bad guy. Doflamingo, we've seen Doflamingo for like, he's ruled us for like 20 years. He's a pretty good guy. You'd be like, okay, fuck it. You guys keep being ruled by Doflamingo. You know what I mean? It would take a lot to expose them. So maybe it's a situation like that where there is a evil type god up there and doing some bad type shit, but at the same time, it's not so overt that it would require, like, even if Shanks is kind of aware of it, it's not something that it's Shanks' place to rebel against or overthrow or whatever. I think that's possible. Okay, continuing on. It's clearly Wang Zi. I don't know. Okay. Dick so small and piss on my balls. Thanks for the 2. Biblo is Jarl's animal companion. Biblo, is that the owl's name? I don't remember the owl's name. Is Biblo the owl's name? Let's look up One Piece Biblo. One Piece Biblo. Oh, yeah. Makes sense. Okay, sure. I'll put that down. Biblo is Bum's animal companion. Anuj Agrawal, good to see you as usual. Thanks for the 10, man. I've only read the first 100 chapters. Okay, here we go. All right, we finally have somebody with a response. Thank you, Anuj Agrawal, for coming through. We finally have somebody. We've got a person. All right, ready? All right, we've got, he can shed some light on this. Anuj Agrawal is coming through and explaining. I've read the first 100-ish chapters of Vagabond and 20% of Musashi, but based on that, it's a very faithful adaptation. Vagabond is more realistic, but I like Musashi more. Didn't love either. Interesting. So it's a very faithful adaptation. Anuj, while we got you here, do you feel like the writing of Vagabond is stronger than Musashi? Like, do you feel like a lot of the depth of the character arc, the dialogue, etc., it's strong? Because it sounds like that's what you're saying. Do you feel like it's stronger in the manga? You're saying it's more realistic, so that can be taken certain ways. Do you feel like it's stronger in the manga, and it's just mostly adapting the plot of the book? Is that what you feel? Because that actually helps a lot. All right, everybody. Is Anuj still here? Everybody, Anuj, please shed light on this. Hello? Could you help us? Because if it's just taking the general plot, if it's just taking the plot and then actually trying to like spruce it up and like adding depth to it through like if you're like, to me there's a big difference between taking the plot and then like strengthening the writing via via the manga, versus if the book is already really well written, the character arc is very, very strong there. And then you're taking that character arc and all of the dialogue and like the juicy lines and all of that stuff, and then taking it to the manga, then I'd just be like, okay, well, the writing of the book is really what's really, really strong, and the manga is just pulling off the best parts of that. That's very different. Anuj Agrawal says, yes! All right! Good news, everybody! Vagabond fans, we're cleared. I will probably read Vagabond. We're cleared. We're good to go. The manga is the superior version to the book. The manga is writing a superior to the book, so the manga is its own standalone work of genius, as Vagabond fans say. You all think that I'm coming in, perhaps to some degree, tried to poke holes and damage and disparage, which is perhaps to some degree true. But at the end of the day, I do want truth to reign supreme. So it sounds as though Vagabond the manga, it genuinely is its own standalone work of genius writing. All right? And so the manga is what we will be reading. It seems like it took the book's plot, but that's not a big deal. It's the manga's writing that really, really is what stands head and shoulders above. So, Vagabond is cleared. The name of that good manga is cleared. I will read Vagabond at some point. I'll probably read Kingdom first. I would not be surprised, just knowing myself, because lots of times I say negative things about things, and then I watch them or try them, and then eventually I'm like, oh, this was really, really good. I would not be surprised if I end up really, really, really loving Vagabond. And maybe it becomes my favorite series. Who knows? Things could happen. Let me tell you another example. I just remembered another example. Okay. So, there was a movie that came out. You guys probably heard of it. Everything, Everywhere, All at Once. All right? Everything, Everywhere, All at Once. This was a movie that came out a few years back, 2020, 2021 or whatever, right? When this movie came out, everybody and their mother was gushing about it. Everybody said, oh my god, this movie's so good. Holy shit, this movie's so good. Blah, 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 blah. It's so amazing. Yada, yada, so cool, blah, blah, blah. Everybody fucking said this to me. That bothered me. I had not seen this movie. I didn't feel like going to see this movie in theaters. I had no interest in this movie. I thought it was cool, but it was like another multiverse concept. I was like, how many multiverses do we need right now? And everybody hyped it up as like, it's probably just like a really good blockbuster. It's probably just like a really good blockbuster. And so because it's a good blockbuster, people think it's like amazing. It's certainly not like a great movie. Maybe it's a very enjoyable blockbuster. That was my mentality about that movie. Okay, so I didn't watch it for a long time. I assumed that people were right and that it probably is really good, but I thought that I'm not gonna like. I'll watch it. It'll be a fun blockbuster to watch at some point just to see what all the hype's about. But I'm not gonna like love it. Like I will enjoy it, I'm sure. So I was excited to watch the movie at some point because I assumed it would be a good movie, but not necessarily like some phenomenal movie. Okay. Finally, this year, now 2024, so last year technically, I watched Everything Everywhere All at Once. All right. You know my thoughts on that movie now? Who knows my thoughts on that movie now? Who knows my thoughts on that movie now? You guys think I like it, dislike it? It's like my second favorite movie of all time. Literally. It's like my second favorite movie of all time. I think at least that's how I felt for a long time. I think now I need to sit back and kind of... I'm not like a hardcore top 10 lister of like my rankings are somewhat... I don't rank super hard like that, at least things that I enjoy, because it changes for me at different points, depending on how I'm feeling or if like certain things are mentally resonating with me from certain films. Like sometimes I'll just sit back and remember some shit from like a movie that I had kind of forgotten about for a while, and I'm like, that I remember that really vividly, and it'll just move it up in my esteem for a little bit. So it might be recency bias, but like at least after I watched Everything Everywhere All at Once, for like the next like 6 months or so, I was just like, that was so good. This is probably like my one or like top two, at least top two for me, favorite movies ever. Now it's been a bit, so now I might revisit. I don't know if I'd still say it's like top two necessarily, but it might be. I think you still need some space before you can definitely feel those things. But yeah, if I had to say off the top of my head, it's really, really, really good. Hector Salamanca says you clearly haven't seen Donnie Darko. I've seen Donnie Darko. Donnie Darko's good. It's enjoyable. It's got that. It's definitely good. It's a cool movie. It makes really, really good use of that song by fucking... What's that Adam Lambert song? Mad World? Tears for Fears. Why does I think it was by Adam Lambert? It's... Wait. Donnie Darko's song Mad World. Right? Oh, it is by Tears for Fears. Okay, never mind. I guess I got it confused. But, yeah, makes great use of that song. It's a cool movie, but it's definitely not, like, a top anything movie for me. Garfield at number one. Yeah, anyway, I love that movie. One of my posters fell off. Shit, during this stream, one of my posters fell off? These headphones must be good because I can't hear it. Interesting point bringing up the posters, though. Interesting point bringing up the posters. It sounds like you guys want to hear about the posters. All right. Oh, this is the clothing. Here we go. If you are interested, these posters are fucking beautiful because the artist has changed up his style quite a bit. Let's get to the individual posters. Maybe that's easier to see. The artist has changed up his style. So if you were to compare these to some of the original posters, okay, so he is going for something much more abstract with Fishman Island. I think Fishman Island is, for me, it's up there with Skypiea as the favorite posters that he's ever done, and Elbaf Night. I just think the style of this is really, really cool. More watercolor aesthetic. Elbaf Village is really, really interestingly done, especially if you get a good look at the castle. I feel like this is... How to explain this? The castle, especially if you look at it up close, it feels like it's it almost feels like it's more alive than the rest of the painting, if that makes sense, because he did it in a different style. Saboti is fucking beautiful. You see the rays of sun coming through, the bubbles, and then of course Wideria. That was our off-brand option for this month. But Witheria came through beautifully in purple. And we went with purple because a lot of people are saying that like they want more distinct color schemes. So we played around with some of the color schemes, and then this is the main thing that the artist chose to go with, and it looks really, really good. So yeah, this is the Sky Water and Sky collection. And just a heads up, if you want to get all 4, you can get 50% off all 4 of them. If you choose to get the full bundle of 4, you can just go here. I will drop, whoops. Yeah, I'll just drop it in chat for the people. All right, continuing on here. Hold on. All right. The Water God, thanks for the 10. Yeah, for sure, but then it's pretty much can't be the God's Knights, and Loki being tied up in the underworld means he will revolt against the Heaven Realm, so probably no one underwhelming. Yeah, I feel like it will probably be someone very strong, whoever's in Heaven Realm. I would not be surprised if the route that we go is basically something like Luffy's plot in this arc, maybe defeating whatever evil giant is up there in Heaven Realm. And then Shanks' plot ends up, assuming Shanks returns to the island, Shanks' plot pits him against the God's Knights and his brother. I think that would follow. Like, okay, let me just do a quick poll real quick. If Shanks's... Wait, let's ask. Okay, first let's do this. Will Shanks's brother be defeated this arc? In the Elbaf arc. Yes, no. We're going to call him Shanks' brother for now. Alright? Whiplash? I love Whiplash. Whiplash is a great movie. Whiplash is one of my favorite movies that's come out in the last, I don't know, 5 years, 10 years. Aether, thanks for the 2. Reed, defeated and bitter, starts Snowball to arc dilemma. Road, defeated and bitter... Road. I thought you said Reed. Road, defeated and bitter, starts Snowball to arc dilemma. Okay, so most people are saying Shanks' brother will not be defeated in the Elbaf arc. Okay, hold on. Okay. Well, 65-35. This is tricky, because I feel like he's set up to be the main antagonist of the arc. Or the God's Knights are set up to be. It's either the God's Knights or the ones in Heaven Realm. It's 60-40 now. This is interesting. Road, defeated and bitter, starts Snowball to arc dilemma. Okay, so you're saying that he leads towards maybe he leads the God's Knights to Loki or something, or he leads towards the main problem of the arc. I could see that happening. 4th, Wanderer, thanks for the 5. Morj, not only are you going to love Vagabond, it will probably be a top 3 for you. In all honesty, I think I will really, really love Vagabond. I do think I will really... Like, when so many people say something, it does often end up being the case that I do end up really enjoying it. Continuing on. Bubble Bass says, and then Morj saw Godzilla -1. No, I saw Godzilla -1 before I ever saw, what's it called? Earlier than I ever saw Everything Everywhere All at Once. And I love Godzilla -1. I raved about it after I saw it to stream. I raved about it quite a bit. I think as soon as I saw that, I actually bumped it up to like, I was like, this feels like a top 10 movie of all time for me. Now that I've had, like, sometimes I'm reactionary with those feelings, so now that I've had some time away, I'm like, okay, it's probably at least one of my favorite action movies of all time. It's probably second to Lord of the Rings in terms of action movies, or maybe The Dark Knight, ahead of it as well. But it's very high up there, at the very least. It's very high up there. I think in terms of a standalone action movie, so not part of a series like The Dark Knight or Lord of the Rings is a series, right? self standalone action movie, maybe I have it at number one. Godzilla minus one. I think I'd say it's my favorite war movie, if you don't count the Lord of the Rings as war movies. Okay, so then let me ask this. Okay, I'm gonna ask this. If Shanks' brother is defeated in Elbaf arc, who defeats him? I feel like if Shanks' brother is going down in the Elbaf arc, then I feel like Shanks defeat. I think it's just more likely that Shanks defeats him than Luffy defeats him personally, but I don't know. Dick so small, I pistol and balls, thanks for the 5. I like the idea that after Zoro beats Mihawk, there's more story, and Mihawk fights Doppelganger on his path of chasing the title once again. Doppelshankser on his path of chasing the title once again. I just think that there would be a lot of controversy if Zoro fights Doppelshanks after Mihawk, just because I don't think that'd be right. I think it would just feed in. I think it would be Oda almost feeding into the Shanks Mihawk debate himself almost too much, and that seems kind of odd. I don't feel like Oda himself would do that. Like Oda having Zoro's final opponent be like a Shanks type opponent, like essentially evil Shanks, that just feels weird to me personally. Sorry, I'm just watching on TV. There's something happening. I don't know. It feels weird. I feel like Oda. It's one of those things that Oda just wouldn't have plot-wise be the end point of Zoro's storyline. I don't know. Oh, people are split between Shanks. Okay, so a lot of people think that if Shanks' brother is defeated in Elbaf, Luffy will defeat him. Yeah, because, I mean, in that case, he'd probably be the primary villain of Elbaf, and it's more likely Luffy defeats the primary villain than anybody else. At the same time, it's also just like, if there is an evil god in Elbaf or something like that, then I think Luffy might get that character, and then Shanks gets to fight his brother. That's also a possibility. Gerard, thanks for the 2. Seen Shawshank Redemption question. Best movie ever in my opinion. Shawshank is phenomenal. It's one of the most emotionally powerful movies, at least in terms of its conclusion, that I've ever seen, that you'll ever see. I love Shawshank. Great, great, great movie. 00Flevens, thanks for the 5. Do you think we will see Bussybeard or Garp by the end of 2025? Pussybeard or Blackbeard or Garp? Yes, I definitely think so. I definitely think we'll see them, because I think that the way things are set up, and Oda even hinted at it at the end of Jump Festa of last year, Elbaf is going to be an arc where we do lots of cutaways, similar to Egghead. Cutaways to other things that are happening in the story, in the outside world. I think that's very, very likely. Like Egghead was the first arc that we'd ever had in One Piece where during the arc itself, significant sections took place cutting away to the outside world. I think we're going to have the same shit in Elbaf. Zepson, thanks for the 5. Do you think Usopp will die by the end of the series, or maybe by the end of Elbaf? I used to think that there was a very solid chance. The further that we've gone, I think that it's unlikely. I think that if Oda wants to have a really powerful character death that is someone that is close to the Straw Hats, maybe at one point in the story he envisioned it being Usopp or something. I wouldn't be surprised if now somebody like Trafalgar Law could serve that purpose, you know? Because Law is kind of more primed for death. He'd be more okay with dying, shit like that, you know? Eric Joe says, anyone else think he might be a Zoro fight in order to work him up to Mihawk? Bro's gonna need some power up at Elbaf, though. I definitely think Zoro needs some big fight. I think Zoro is the character that right now, in the Straw Hats, is most in need of some big fights and wins. I think Zoro above all else. The reason being that Luffy, as he is right now, he's actually in pretty good shape for where you would expect him to be at this point in the story, right? Because Luffy right now, like, he's got pretty much, like, he can fight a Yonko 1v1, right? He can fight a Yonko 1v1. It's basically where he's at. Whether or not he can win or not, that's kind of like stamina issues is the scenario, is the thing that's holding him back in a sense. And that's like an easily, not easy, that's like a thing that Oda can kind of just fix for Luffy anytime he wants, right? Oda can kind of dictate whatever Luffy's stamina is, or if it improves as Luffy continues to fight, okay? The one area that it's been stated Luffy needs to grow is still Conqueror's Haki Mastery, which is implied at the end of the Kaido fight, and just seeing the gap between Luffy's Haki and Joy Boy's. But that's essentially one final big power-up that Luffy needs. That's pretty much it. One final big power-up, and then Luffy should be in pretty damn good shape, right? For being his end-of-story level. That's pretty much it. Like, just think of the jump that Luffy had at the start of the rooftop fight to like, the end of the rooftop fight. It's fucking insane, right? Even just from chapter 1000 when Luffy gets to the rooftop to chapter 1010 when Luffy unlocks Advanced Conqueror's Haki. Like, the jump is... It's literally heaven and earth. Luffy suddenly starts splitting the sky out of nowhere when, like, 10 minutes ago he was clashing evenly with Ulti, right? So Luffy's very close to where he needs to be, honestly. Then if you look at the rest of the crew, a lot of them fall in the category of, like, they don't need to be that much stronger than they already are. Like, Frankie, Robin, Frankie, Robin, they're already Toby Roppo level, you know? And they only just, like, Robin only just started using Demonio Fluor. Frankie, he has still ways that he can upgrade his Shogun Frankie and stuff like that. Like, they're already in a good spot. They're kind of where you need to be for them, which is they don't need to be the characters that are beating up first mate level characters or, like, admirals or anything like that. So they're already in a good spot. They probably need to get a little bit stronger before the end of the story, but they're in a good spot. Brook could use more fights. Nami just got a ridiculous upgrade. Usopp needs a tremendous amount of upgrades, so maybe Usopp needs to be boosted up the most, but at the same time, there's no sort of hard level that Usopp actually specifically needs to hit. He does need to somehow defeat Van Augur by the end of the story, but Usopp's fights are always janky, so it's hard to say how much he needs to upgrade versus how much he just needs to strategize, believe in himself, shit like that, right? Zoro and Sanji. So the tricky thing with Zoro and Sanji is, like, they have the most burden to improve because they need to be, like, Admiral-ish level at least by the end of the story, with Zoro likely needing to be above that, having to defeat Mihawk and everything. Sanji, the thing with Sanji is that, like, there's no scheduled final matchup for Sanji, right? Whereas Zoro has to be able to defeat Mihawk by the end of the story. So the tricky thing is that, like, Zoro, like, if you look at Luffy last arc, Luffy's fighting Kizaru, then he's handling Kizaru and Saturn, then he's fighting, like, several Gorosei at once and everything like that. Like, Luffy's pretty much where you need him to be outside of stamina issues at this point in the final saga. Zoro can't be stalling with Lucci for that long. It just can't be a thing. Not if Zoro needs to be defeating Mihawk in the next 200 chapters, right? Like, in this same saga, he needs to go from stalling with Lucci to defeating Mihawk. That is a gigantic fucking gap. Like, even just seeing when Mars showed up and started talking to Lucci, you could feel that the gap between Lucci and Mars was like an insect talking to, like, a god, basically. And Mihawk is very likely, he should by all means be even above someone like Mars, right? So Zoro has to, there's a lot that he needs to do. A lot of upgrading that he needs to do. He has the materials because Ashura Zoro is ridiculously strong. And he could, like, if you combine King of Hell with Ashura or something like that, then you get, like, a really crazy combination. But it still needs to actually happen in the story. So there's still a big, like, the raw materials are there, but he needs fights to really put it together. Sanji, I feel like there's a flexibility to how much Sanji has to grow because there's no scheduled matchup at the end of the day for Sanji. So Oda can dictate, like, even if Sanji needs more fights, there's not, like, anything that's not, like, there's just not, like, a hard bar that Sanji needs to eventually hit. Whereas Zoro, we know that he has a hard bar he needs to hit, and it just feels like right now, dude, you need to fucking catch up. Like, you need to catch up. Like, you need to do some catch up. Like, you remember pre-time skip when Zoro was always on the ship training and lifting weights and shit? Do that. Like, you are not in a position right now to be slacking off and not doing that. Okay? You can't be going huff with Lucci for that long and go back to the ship and just be chilling and drinking booze like it's like we're still at Fishman Island. Okay? You need to hit the weights again. You need to be back in the gym room. All right? Like, you need to, like, you know, you just got to do some shit. 00 Flivens, thanks for the 50, and we are probably going to call a stream very shortly after this, but thank you very, very, very much, man. I really appreciate this. And it's double O. O Flevens. Like, oh, double O Flevens. Okay, I got you. I'll say that in the future, man. Thanks for clarifying. I like my hussy shaken not stirred, says Double O Flevance. Usopp the coward will die, Usopp the brave will live on. Oh, okay. I see what you're saying. Like, symbolically, that version of Usopp will die. We'll get a new version of Usopp going forward. That's an interesting possibility. I think that Oda is hesitant to change, like, characters' inherent demeanors, right? Like, even if they get past their core conflict. Like, Sanji went through that whole arc in Whole Cake Island, but he still acts the same day to day. For the most part, the nosebleed gag has gone down at the very least. But it's interesting. At least maybe when it comes down to it, Usopp, we won't have to deal with him being cowardly in the face of danger every time, maybe going forward. Luffy's deal with Loki is that he will let Usopp defeat him to hype his man up and give him confidence. That would be so funny and embarrassing but it would be funny. It would be funny. I'll put that down as your prediction. 00 Flevence, or double of Flevence, sorry. Luffy's deal with Loki will be to let Loki lose to Usopp to have Usopp gain some confidence. That's an interesting prediction. All right, everybody. I think we're going to call a stream here. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in on a Saturday stream. I appreciate it. I'm excited for One Piece getting back going. Bane saying Morj Zoro slander, let's go. It's not even Zoro slander, because it's just like, you all know I think highly of Zoro as a character. I think, like, I always put him above. I think Zoro is above all those other first mate tier characters. Like all of those other characters that are kind of in these conversations, like Law, Kid. Some people think they're above first mate. Like, you know the characters I'm talking about. Like this group of like Law, Kid, Sabo, Yamato, that batch of characters. Obviously King, Marco, them. I think Zoro's above all of them. I think Ben Beckman is probably the only potential exception there. Just because Ben Beckman's an aura merchant, so potentially, but maybe a warranted aura merchant. I don't know. But Ben Beckman, that might be still above Zoro. But I put Zoro above all those guys, right? But the point is that where Zoro's at in the story, it's not enough to just be above those guys. He needs to now be able to, like, he did hold off Venus Juro by himself for a bit, right? So that was good. So that kind of makes up for the huff with Lucci. I think it's interesting that, like, the huff with Lucci was what Oda kept showing and, like, spending so much time on with Zoro for so long, whereas Zoro versus Venus Juro was, like, we had one nice, cool clash, and then after that it was kind of in the background. It's like, dude, that's the one that we want to see. That's the fight that we want to see for Zoro. You know, like, you spent so many panels, like, cutting over to Zoro going huff with Lucci. Like, fucking show us Zoro versus Venus Juro a little bit more, you know, instead of just one clash. I thought that was funny. I don't know why Oda did that, but yeah, it's just like where Zoro needs to be soon. It requires a lot more moving forward, you know, like to catch up to Mihawk. At the same time, you could make the argument that Zoro right now is stronger than Luffy was prior to the Onigashima, like heading into the rooftop at the start of the rooftop battle. Zoro right now should be above where Luffy was at the start of the rooftop battle. And then over the course of that one battle, Luffy had so many awakenings that he essentially caught up to Kaido. But the problem with that is that Zoro doesn't have the convenience of a devil fruit. So it's not like he's got devil fruit awakening up his corner. Like, Zoro's actually got to do it the hard way. So he needs to get his hockey shit together at the end of the day, right? So it just feels like he's figured out Advanced Conqueror's hockey. He still needs to show us he can control Ashura for more than a single attack. You know, maybe now that he's mastered Advanced Conqueror's hockey, he can do that. And then his fucking observation hockey has not been highlighted whatsoever, and Mihawk's likely very good at observation hockey. It just feels like there's so many gaps for him to get to World's Strongest Swordsman at this point in the story. You know what I'm saying? Like, it feels like this is something that he needs fights to get there. Like, he needs fights to get there very, very soon. So I think Zoro's the strat that's most in need of improvement. Not because he's not already very strong. It's just that the bar that he has to get to is so absurdly high. Yeah, beyond that, like, for the other strats, like, Jinbei's already very strong. I don't think at any point we'll be asking Jinbei to fight, like, Ben Beckman or, like, Admiral level characters. So Jinbei, like, Zoro and Sanji are like the Strats are structured differently. Zoro and Sanji are like the wings of the Pirate King, so they're abnormally strong for first and second commanders, right? Kind of like Rayleigh and Gabon was the model for Roger's crew. Roger didn't have 3 commanders; he just had 2 who are likely much stronger than other, like any Yonko commander, obviously. So that's the model for the One Piece crew. It's just that Sanji's in a different boat than Zoro because Sanji doesn't have like a really high bar that he needs to hit by the end of the story. Yuma Tazoa says, if Sanji wasn't on the rooftop, do you think he's fighting Gorosei? End of story. I think that there is... I actually think that there's... I think that there's a giant mega theory that I have that I kind of want to drop soon that paints a very different possibility for how the final story matchups go that have totally reshaped my view. I think that a lot of things click a lot better with this lineup, and it makes me very, very excited. I don't even... Part of it, the reason I haven't done it yet is because it's such a big theory, and it... I think a lot of people might feel like it clicks a lot of things together, okay? Like a lot of matchups click together neater with this theory. And I feel like there's one point in it that might be very controversial for people, but I don't know if how people will feel. Okay, there's one point in it that might be controversial for people. But I don't know. I think how the Gorosei go down, I think I have a very different concept of how the Gorosei go down and what their matchups will be than before. I would say this. I don't even think... No, I want to leave it. I want to leave it because anything I say right now will just be will upset people quite a bit, basically. I think in terms of... you need the full context as to why this makes sense. And I think if people hear the full rundown of how I predict the final matchups will go actually, I think it makes a lot more sense. This is predicated on the possibility that Blackbeard is in fact the final villain instead of Emu. It's a really, really big ass theory. So part of it is I'm struggling with the title, thumbnail of it, and everything. But I'm very excited to drop it soon. All right, everybody. Okay, a small hint is I guess the hint would be that it's a theory angled at Blackbeard potentially being the final villain and not Emu, but it still addresses all Emu Gorosei matchups and how those could line up a lot better. Yeah, I'll leave it at that. All right, everybody. We are going to call it here. We're going to call it here. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. Let me put in my prediction. My prediction for the chapter is simply that I think... God's Knights face off against Luffy at end of chapter. Maybe that's too optimistic, but let's see if it happens. As for the theories that I think are likely, looking at these, I do think a character mistaking Evil Shanks for Shanks can happen. I think we will see the mystery dude stepping out potentially the next chapter. I think that's a good possibility. I think, I do believe Travis's prediction. I don't know if that'd be confirmed next chapter or anything. I think Era's Toll could be possible. I think GDN's could be possible. I think Aether's is possible. Primo Showtime, I think that's a solid chance. All right. I think, I think that this is, I think this is a solid set of predictions. So we might have a lot of correct winners this upcoming chapter. So, thanks for tuning in, everybody. And, I will talk to you all soon.